Who would have thought that France was the welfare queen this whole time? As soon as Africa cut them off, nationalized their resources, and built their own social programs, the French government collapsed. But the Western media will blame their budget deficit or the way Parliament is set up. But let me tell you what's really going on. Their prime minister had proposed taking 60 billion euros from their reserves to close the budget deficit. But keep in mind that the reserves are the African gold they pillaged, and that pipeline is closing since Burkina Faso nationalized their gold and pushed them out. So when they said let's use the reserves, all hell broke loose, and the prime minister was removed. Then France had an energy crisis. 70% of its electricity comes from nuclear power or uranium. Now Western media is going to tell you the price went up because of Russia's war in Ukraine. But Niger supplies 20% of all European uranium. So when Niger told Orano, a French nuclear company, to halt all production, they disrupted France's entire energy sector. Then while they will paint Africa as the place that needs foreign aid, what we have learned about the French economy is that they've been spending money like their colonies will always be there. They have been in Africa since the 1600s. All those people, all those resources that they stole. And apparently they don't know how to manage their money. So now that there is a global push to make Western economies more conservative, Western media blames France's social programs for their budget deficit. They want to use France as a test case for why their economy should be more capitalist, more corporate run, more conservative. But the real problem is that Europe has been a welfare state for centuries, supplied by Africa and its other colonies. And we have taken away the empire's subsidy. So as Africa reclaims price, policy, and production, France won't fix its books by attacking welfare. They'll either have to exchange imperialism for fair trade or crumble altogether.
The world needs to know what is happening across Europe right now. In countries across the continent, farmers have been taking to the streets in protest against their respective governments, saying that their policies are destroying their livelihoods. In France, not only have tractors blocked multiple vital roads leading to cities like Paris, but have also dumped dirt, stones, rubble, and even hay bales on key motorways. They also set fire to foreign produce and poured out all of the wine that was imported. They tore up parking lots in the south using their tractors. They sprayed an estimated 17,000 liters of sewage on government buildings and even tried to shoot it in their windows. And then to counteract that, they planned probably one of the most peaceful protests the world has ever seen by filling the center of Draguignan with sheep. They even lined up hundreds of tractors on Le Touquet Beach, which is where the French president Macron has a holiday home. In Germany, thousands took to the streets to protest the phasing out of tax breaks on agricultural diesel, which they say would lead them to bankruptcy. Italy joined the protest with signs that read "No farmers, no food, no future." This is what it looked like in Belgium yesterday, with tractors as far as the eye can see blocking important motorways as they protest a variety of issues, from low pay to climate regulations. In Romania, Poland, and Hungary,
stretching from Chad all the way to Mauritania. All these former colonies hosted French troops. They were all part of a security grouping called the G5 Sahel. All these former French colonies were dealing with a common problem: terrorism. That was France's justification to deploy troops. But they failed to fix the problem. They failed to contain the terrorist groups. So slowly the African nations started getting annoyed. 3 of them recently had coups: Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Their militaries overthrew the civilian governments, and then they kicked out the French troops as well. These coup-hit Sahel nations blame France for their terror problem. They say the French troops were not doing enough. And ordinary people seem to agree because anti-France sentiment has been brewing in the Sahel. It's prevalent in Chad as well, and this may have contributed to the government's decision. The third and the last reason for this break may have been Russia. Moscow has been courting African nations, especially former French colonies. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have all switched allies. They kicked out the French and they brought in the Russians. Russian mercenaries to help the military juntas. And Chad has a similar situation. President Mohamed Deby is the son of a military dictator. His father, Idriss Deby, ruled for 30 years. Mohamed took over after he died. He orchestrated a coup and then held what is called a questionable election to consolidate power. So Deby may also want some Russian support to shore up his legitimacy. Russia has been reaching out to Chad. They've signed a few deals, and a broader alliance is definitely possible. All these factors have influenced Chad's latest move: the desire for sovereignty, the anti-France sentiment, and the desire for Russian support. Chad was France's last stronghold in the Sahel. Now it has fallen. And France's troubles may not be over yet. There are rumblings from another former French colony, Senegal. Senegal's president has also taken aim at French troops.
France is spending over 500 billion euros per year on welfare. That's over 30% of the entire economy spent on people who are not working and are not contributing to the system at all. Yet the Prime Minister had the courage to come out yesterday proposing to cut 2 public holidays to address the debt issue, because France is drowning in debt. They have a debt to GDP of over 120% and they're running annual deficits of around 6%. That's wartime deficits. So the only real or viable solution the government has at this point is to cut on spending, which of course they don't want to do, because why would you stop spending somebody else's money? So they're coming out with these gimmicks of cutting public holidays, and they're eventually going to come with a proposal to hike taxes even more, which France really cannot do because they already have one of the highest tax burdens in the entire European Union and developed world for that matter. So there is only one viable solution for France. That is actually cutting on spending, or the alternative, which will be very costly for French citizens, is to monetize the debt. To go to the ECB and ask for more money to monetize your debt.
أو أنت تتحمل مسؤوليتها. And let me say this in English so you can understand what I'm saying.
I have translation.
No, I know you have translation, but I just want to make sure you get it right. There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
What a first day for France's new Prime Minister. Nationwide protests over the direction of government and their proposed cuts. He is, after all, the 5th person to hold that office in less than 2 years. So while Sébastien Lecornu was handed power, more than 175,000 people took to the streets in towns and cities nationwide. A happy accident that an event planned months ago fell on a day epitomising the political chaos they were protesting against. In Paris this morning, police dressed from head to toe in battle gear looked bemusedly on, incongruous against the dancing protesters singing for them to be calm and go home. At a time of great domestic weakness, President Macron couldn't allow the protests to get out.
Yeah, welcome back, family. Can you imagine that only 3 countries in Sahel has destroyed the economy of France completely? Only 3 countries. You know, welcome back. I am the Kenyan Explorer here, and I'm so happy to sit here before you and share something, because I know that you really, before you press this video, you know what this channel is up to. We are only here to try to check on the France and how the great empires are suffering because Africa is awake, because Africans today are standing up and say that you are not going to take it anymore. You are not going to do all that again. Thank you very much for joining. And now, imagine 3 countries of Sahel, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Only 3 countries has destroyed the economy of France. The people from France are the same people who used to live under privilege. They are the people who used to depend on the government to give them life, to offer them jobs, to give them free electricity, to offer them a lot of things freely, because there was plenty that was coming out of Africa. There was plenty that was coming out of Africa freely. So they never had any loss when they gave out to their people. But because they're no longer getting all this as how they used to, as usual, then it has become a nightmare to them. It has come a nightmare to them. We always say that we need African unity. We need a united Africa. Can you imagine this? That every country in Africa, the whole 54 countries in Africa are united today. What's going to happen to the Westerners? What is going to happen to the Westerners if only 3 countries has now shaken the entire Europe? This is not a joke. This is not a joke, because I know that even the Westerners themselves today, they are wondering, they're so confused. How can this happen? How does this possible?
This issue of Burkina Faso and Captain Ibrahim Traore has suddenly become one of the biggest political issues in the world, trending regularly on social media. My own interview with our dear friend and guest Nico House on this very subject, literally on this exact subject, is one of our biggest, most viewed clips in all the history of the mother of all talk shows. It's in the millions. Millions of people have watched it on all platforms, including pirates by the dozen going out on TikTok, which is now a pretty regular thing. We're not always able to keep track of them in order to count them and claim the credit for them. But I can say that millions have watched what Nico House said and what I said about Captain Traore. It's even worse than you said, Amy. He didn't just accuse Captain Ibrahim of stealing Burkina Faso's gold. He accused him of stealing Burkina Faso's gold to pay for his own protection. Well, I wonder why he would need protection. Well, one of the obvious reasons is that both France and the United States are quite clearly committed to killing him. What is it about Captain Traore that they want to kill? Well, in addition to the great strides forward that you have adumbrated, this very week, the Burkina Faso government abolished all education fees. It is now free to go to nursery, primary, secondary, and university in Burkina Faso.
But again, this is possible. They never expected this. This is possible. France has been in Africa, more so in West Africa for so long. They have been in West Africa for so long, exploiting these countries, taking uranium, taking gold, with nothing in return that can build the economy of this country. Because when you go across these 3 countries, these are one of the countries that has been very poor, poor infrastructures, poor lives, poor economy, weak military system, no security stabilities, terrorism has been so high, and yet they have been having the military bases of France everywhere in the country. What was the role of what was the role of militaries or French militaries in this country? They introduced a weak currency in that country. In those 3 countries, they all still up to date use the weak currency that was introduced by French. The children from these countries were only trained to go in a mineral site to mine, to extract this gold, so that the government of Europe of France can come and take them back to their countries. So, up to this time, since the coming of these great leaders, the military leaders, who today are doing the wonders, and the world is so surprised. The world is so surprised about all that they are doing. So, today the people who are living in Africa are better than those who lived and who lives in Europe, because when you come to Africa, everything is real. We are living our own originality. We are living our own life. They used not to work, but to get all they want. They used not to work, not to pay bills, but the government offered them health insurance, free houses, free electricity, for the uranium that was mined in in Niger is the one that was taken to go and make a free electricity in the country of France. So today, the citizens are asking questions. Why today the government is not able to deliver to us? Why do the government today is not able to come and pay the workers? Why today the government is not able to come and give them the free medicines, the free medical covers, and everything that they used to? That's why today you see them coming on the street to demonstrate. What they do? What are their demands? They want their president to resign. Let me tell you something today. Even your president today is not your solution, because even if today Emmanuel Macron is forced to step out of that position or out of power, there is nothing good that will come out in that country, because the coming president will not be able to bring back all that has been coming to that country. The coming president, the one that you believe that can lead that country good and do all that it has been, you used to get from your government, he or she will not be able to do anything, because for his or her to do as usual, as normal, he must come back to Africa, take the minerals as how they used to take, and from there, then he's going to revive the economy. He's going to recover the economy. He's going to bring back everything that you want and how the government used to. But how can this be possible? Because today in Africa, everyone is awake. Nobody is ready to sleep. Because if we try to sleep again, we will wake up again and find everything missing in Africa. Because they have been here always. They have been here to take and take and take, to make sure that no Africa is benefiting from everything that we're having. They are here to make sure that we don't benefit, we don't build our own countries using our richness, our resources that we are having. So whenever we come here to speak about the unity of Africa, when Kwame Nkrumah was speaking about the unity of Africa, it was not that he never knew the impact. He knew well that if the Africans unite, if we can have a free and united Africa, we are going to shake the world. And the world is going to be afraid of Africa. The world is going to panic from the decisions and the growth that Africa will show. And this is what is happening. Julius Malema once said that maybe we might not be there when Africa will be united. We might not be there when Africa will have one president, one currency, and one army. But the people who will be there will celebrate our achievement, our struggle that we are doing today. And this will be a great achievement that we'll make for our coming generations. So when we say that we need a united Africa, we mean a lot. When Africa unites, then the world will have to bow before Africa, because all that we are having, no one else is having. For them to be who we are, they have to have all that we are having. For them to come and keep controlling us again, they will need to have gold mining, uraniums, and diamonds in their countries, which they don't have. I said by asking you, if the only 3 countries in Sahel has shaken the entire Europe, what if the entire continent of Africa unites and start to speak one voice? We abolish the border issues. We abolish and we start to live under our own originality. We start to depend on our history, our heritage. What's going to do? The world will bow before Africa. I am telling you this for free. Today, I don't have much to say. I'm just so excited to see all that's happening today, because this is trying to show how great Africa is. Just tell me how the comment section. Really love it. Leave a comment, leave a like, so that you can be able to come on the next episode. Let's meet on the comment section. I really know what do you think about this, because I'm talking to the black people wherever you are. I hope that you are so are proud of all that is happening today. Until next time, we come with the same. Thank you very much for being here each and every time, for those subscribing, sharing, for those sending me super thanks, for those joining my membership. I appreciate you, and I will come you more and more. We have to do this more because we are just pushing the agendas of the great Pan-Africans who were assassinated without achieving their dreams. We are here to achieve and push them happening. And be blessed wherever you are watching from.